All right, so today we're going to talk about a little bit about HTML and starting your first web page. So what we're going to want to do is, just like I said in the last video, is we want everything in this course, we want to be working in a folder. So the very first thing we want to do is open a folder. So come over here and click on this Explorer tab, and then we're going to click Open Folder. In the last video, I created a folder on my desktop called First Website, and I'm going to open that. Or if you are following along, you're welcome to create your own website, your own folder here. But I'm just going to use this first website folder that I made in the last video. So I'm going to click open, and now that folder is open. So over here on the left-hand panel, you can see that this folder doesn't have any folders or files in it at all. We're going to start by making our first file. Typically, when you make your first HTML file, you'll name it index.html because that is where computers will go automatically when they're looking for the homepage of your website. They'll look for index.html. So I'm going to create index.html. The way I do that is this little icon here that looks like a piece of paper with the top corner folded down that says new file. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to type in index.html. Importantly, you do not want to include spaces in this file name. So I'm going to hit enter, and you can tell that I have the right thing because it'll have these two caret signs, and that is how you know that it's an HTML file. Also down at the bottom, it says that the type of language we're writing in is HTML. If you don't see that, make sure you typed HTML as lowercase. Also make sure you typed .html with no spaces. And that should handle the language. If that doesn't happen, you can come down here at the bottom and you can click HTML and you can click change it from auto detect, and then you can scroll down and you can tell it that you want it to be HTML. So you can manually set which language you're using, but if you put .html, Visual Studio Code is smart enough that it should be able to figure out what type of language you're using. HTML is a coding language that structures a website. It's composed of opening tags and closing tags. Any website you see on the internet is composed of HTML. So the typical format for HTML is you have an opening HTML tag and a closing HTML tag, and that tells the computer, hey, this is going to be a web page. Inside of that HTML, you have two more tags. So you'll have a head tag, an opening and a closing one, and then you'll have a body tag. And if you don't type the carets and you just hit tab, it will autocomplete and create the closing tag for you. And that'll save you from having to type the caret sign all the time, because for me, it's in an awkward spot on the keyboard. So typically an HTML page will have an HTML tag that contains everything. Inside of that HTML tag, it'll have a head tag, and inside of that, it will have a body tag. The body is most of what you see on a web page. The head tag is helpful for search engines as they're looking for your website. So a lot of times you'll put a lot of information in the head tag that will help your website be found. The body tag is where you'll put a lot of the stuff that will show up on the page for your users. Now, if you're like me, you don't like typing if you don't have to. So there's a shortcut for all of this. So rather than just typing out everything that I just typed out here, you can type HTML:5 and hit tab, and that'll put in all of the boilerplate code to build your first HTML page. Or you can type exclamation mark and hit enter, and that will type out all of the code. The exclamation mark is what I commonly use to put in all of my boilerplate HTML code. So I want you to see this live. And one thing I want to point out is there's a little white dot up here next to our tab. That means that our file hasn't been saved. If you're ever writing code and you're wondering why your website's not updating to reflect your changes, check to make sure that you've saved it. There are a couple ways you could do this, but I prefer the keyboard shortcut. So you can hit Command S on a Mac or Control S on a Windows, and that will save it. But if you don't like keyboard shortcuts, you can come up here to the top and hit File and then hit Save, and that will save your file. So I'm going to hit this little Go Live button, and that will pop open a website, and there's nothing on it. And that's exactly what we're hoping to see. We didn't want to see anything on this website because we haven't written any HTML to show anything. All we've written is the boilerplate code. So let's go make it actually do something. So change tabs back over to Visual Studio. And in Visual Studio, let's type inside of the body tags, we're going to say hello world, because this is a programming course. Wouldn't be a programming course if we didn't start with hello world. So we'll save that. Because we're running live server, as soon as we save a change here, that's when we click this go live down at the bottom. As soon as we save a change on our index.html file, it updates on our website. And so now we can see that our website has hello world. If we mouse over the left-hand tab, we can see that we have one tab, and that tab is called document. It's going to look a little different if you're on Google Chrome. I'm in Safari right now. Maybe we don't want our tab to say document. Maybe we want it to say something else. So we'll come back over to our Visual Studio Code. This isn't information that's displayed on the page. It's information about the page. So we're going to look in the head tag. And right here in title, we can see that it says document. Let's change that to say our first website. So I'm going to type my first website and hit Command S to save my changes. You'll notice the white dot disappeared. If we tab back over, we can see that our website still looks the same. It still says hello world. But now if we look at our tabs, we can see that the tab is labeled my first website. And so hopefully that gets you a little bit of an orientation to HTML. We're only going to go into as much depth in HTML as you need to understand JavaScript, because this is primarily a JavaScript course. And maybe one day in the future, I'll make an HTML course. But for now, we're just going to focus on JavaScript. So thank you for watching and have a good day.